Hi, my name is Jeremy Smith, and today we're going to be going over a PowerPoint on analyzing mass media and popular culture. The magazine I chose to use for this PowerPoint is Men's Health January-February 2016 issue. Okay, let's get started. Alright, well, the first thing I'm going to do is give a little background on Men's Health. Men's Health is a widely known magazine that focuses on a majority male audience. It contains tips on fashion, grooming, and most importantly gives tips on health and muscle building for men. This magazine is extremely popular to young men trying to live a healthy lifestyle. Knowing that this magazine has a mostly male audience, companies with products they feel men would enjoy choose to advertise their products here. The advertisements inside the magazine include fashion, fitness, and even cars. The first thing we're going to talk about is material culture. In the first two ads, we can see this being used. On the left, we have a picture of a Lincoln, which is a luxury vehicle, and on the right, we have a picture of a watch. The first two ads we come across in the magazine are for a watch and a Lincoln. This is an example of material culture. The advertisement is equating luxury items to success. The ad is showing that by having the nice items, the men that obtain them can exude an image of success while wearing or driving the product. By having these items in a material culture society, the people that have obtained them have a higher ranking on the hierarchy and therefore are more powerful within the society. Okay, well, the next thing I'm going to talk about is ideal versus real culture. In ideal culture, the men in society can often be expected to be the rugged, outdoorsy type who would probably even drive a truck. This particular ad plays into this idea. Because the company knows that men are the ones mostly viewing these ads, they attempt to display them in an appealing way. In real culture, this is not always the case. Instead of driving a truck, maybe the man reading this particular issue would prefer to drive a Prius or a Camry. This ad is an example of how the theory of an ideal culture may seem like a positive advertisement tool, but in reality may not be. And although it is not always the case, men in the ideal culture still do exist, and that is why this ad is being placed in this particular magazine. Men still reading the magazine do like to drive trucks and go out and go up to the mountains and do rugged things. But in today's real culture, that is not necessarily always the case. In today's society, there is absolutely no question that the media plays a huge role in the way that we think and what they feed to us. Everyone knows that families, church, schools, and even TV are agents of socialization. But what one might not know is that these advertisements can also be a form of that as well. One can see these types of advertisements as an agent of socialization. These ads are creating an image of what they believe a real man looks like. They are proposing that these men in the advertisements are a model of what every man should look like, and that if we buy their product, we too can look like these men in these pictures. By continuously showing these images, the idea of a real man can begin to appear this way in people's heads, when in reality that is not always the case. Now, of course, I'm not saying that men shouldn't work out, but what I am saying is that when certain men work out with the intention of looking like the men in these ads, it's just not even close to being a reality. The men in these ads are absolutely extreme examples of what can happen when lifting, and they should not be a goal in someone's mind. And although it is extremely impressive, this is not necessarily what it takes to be considered a man. The same type of phenomenon can be seen in fashion advertisements such as cologne and clothes. They have these men with big luscious beards claiming that these are the manliest men and it takes a beard to be a man, when this is not the case. This is an interesting example of seeing how an agent of socialization such as advertisements or commercials, even how little they are and how little they impact our lives, can actually impact the way we think and the way we view and set goals for ourselves. Kind of going off what I talked about in the last slide, I'm going to start to talk about a saturated self. Saturated self is the idea that with the new addition of technology and the increasingly large amounts of media ideas being thrown at us, we are now being shaped by technology and the media. This shaping can depend on the amount of time we spend submerged into different forms of media and technologies. A good example of this could be that some of the readers in this magazine may experience different levels of this. By consistently reading about the rugged lifestyles lived by the men in this magazine, it can become a desire to the reader to also live like that. Once the reader desires to live the way that is described in this magazine, the advertisements posted here really begin to become profitable. Once the readers see the men in this magazine driving these cars, having these nice watches, wearing nice clothes, I feel like that the advertisements are taking advantage of the readers, which is not necessarily a bad thing. They're just trying to make money. But I feel like they're using this in a way to attack the reader, or not attack, but to get the reader to spend the money so they can live like the people that they were just reading about in the magazine. It's convenient, and it's a good way to make money for these advertisers. Alright, so I'm going to begin wrapping things up. In conclusion, it is very interesting to analyze all of the previously discussed theories being displayed within the media. The media and advertisements within them make such a large impact on our lives without us even realizing it. We are constantly being fed images, ideas, and expectations by the media, and it is actually shaping the way that we form as individuals. The advertisement and product companies are very aware of this, and are continuously attempting to evolve their products to make them appear more appealing to whatever demographic that they are trying to reach at the moment of advertisement. We may see the same products being advertised in different magazines, but if it was advertised in, say, a 17 Again magazine, obviously the advertisement would appear differently. By making their products appear differently for different demographics, they are more likely to appeal to the specific reader that they're trying to reach, and by appealing to that specific person, they are more likely to get the consumer to buy whatever product that they are advertising. And this is actually going to conclude my PowerPoint. I thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have a great evening.